The long-awaited Ohuhu refill inks have finally arrived. In this video, I will try out the new Ohuhu inks and use them to refill some markers. Later in this video, we will learn how to draw a simple waterfall without any pencil sketching, just freehand drawing and quick coloring. Trust me, it's super easy and relaxing. I hope you will enjoy it. Thank you to Ohuhu for sponsoring today's video and sending me these refill inks. I'm very glad Ohuhu finally has marker inks available for purchase. Right now on their website, they have refill inks for 51 popular colors, and they are having a special discount for their 7th year anniversary. There is a limited inventory of refill ink right now, so if you don't want to miss out, go ahead check their website and grab some refill inks for your markers. You will find the link in the description. The refill ink design is very simple and clean. It has a screw-on cap that is easy to open. The needle tip allows for a direct refill of the marker without the need for additional tools like a syringe. There is a measurement on the refill bottle. Each bottle contains 16 milliliters, which is roughly equal to 5 of the Honolulu markers. I'm gonna refill some of my markers. They are very dry at the moment. Let's see how they're gonna look after the refill. There are two different ways to refill the markers. First method is dropping the ink on top of the marker nib. I use this method more often since it doesn't require removing the nibs. We can follow the instructions in the refill ink manual. Before refilling, it suggests opening both caps of the marker to balance the pressure. Now we can just drop the ink onto the brush tip or the chisel tip. Take it slow and drop one at a time to avoid any spills. You can check the measurement on the bottle to keep track how much ink you have used. Make sure you don't overfill it. Afterwards, close all caps and let the marker sit for some time before using it. Meanwhile, I'm gonna refill another marker. For me, one refill ink bottle will probably last for years. Having refill ink is very convenient. The second method is taking out the nibs and directly refilling the ink into the ink reservoir. You can use a pair of tweezers or do it by hand if you are comfortable with it. The chisel tip is much easier to remove. Simply grab it from the bottom and give it a gentle wiggle. It will come out easily. Once you have done that, you can insert the refill ink into the marker to begin the refilling process. Afterward, we can place the nib back into the marker. It's a very simple process and very easy to do. To remove the brush tip can be a little bit tricky. We just need to be careful and patient. Use a tweezer to grip the bottom of the brush tip and slowly take it out. The tweezer might leave a tiny dent on the nib, but it's very unnoticeable, and it doesn't affect the performance of the marker at all. You can use your hand to take it out too. Personally, I prefer refilling from the chisel tip side, while for the brush tip side, I usually use the dripping method. If you ever break the nib, you can buy a replacement on Ohuhu's website. I never had the situations where I needed to buy any extra nibs in the past. So overall, the nib is very durable. I have let all markers sit for about half an hour. Let's see how it turns out. In some cases, if your marker isn't too dry, you can use it right away without waiting. As you can see, all the markers now have very smooth and solid colors. We have finished the refilling process. Whenever you are ready, let's do a drawing together. In my other tutorials, I typically start with a pencil sketch before moving on to the line work. Today, we're gonna go ahead and use a pen to draw right away. Don't worry about perfection. The fun part is to draw whatever comes to your mind. I'm not good at drawing with a pen without pencil outlines, so I wanted to draw something easy. No complex shading or layering, so we can enjoy the process without getting too caught up in the details. The entire drawing should take around 15 minutes. Let's get started. First, I'm drawing a few dots to determine the size of the drawing and the length of the waterfall. Next, we are gonna draw two slightly curved lines. Start from the top and draw downwards, lifting your pen at the end. So this will be the body of the waterfall. We can take a look at some waterfall pictures, and you will see on the waterfall there are lines like these I highlighted here. So let's draw a few more short lines to represent the flowing water stream. At the bottom of the waterfall, draw some marks like these to represent the splashing water. Remember to keep it simple, sometimes less is more. The remaining part of the drawing is quite straightforward. We have covered rocks and shrubs in my previous tutorials, so let's see if we can tackle them without the need for a pencil outline. The elements above the waterfall serve as more of a background, so we don't need to draw many details. For the shrubs, we can use squiggly lines, and for the rocks, we can use clean and crisp lines. Drawing rocks with more rounded shapes are easier compared to those with multiple corners. Imagine the rocks as a sphere and add a bit shading on the right or left side, depending on the direction of your light source. Moving on to the bottom of the waterfall, I'd like to have a small pond. I'm gonna draw rocks surrounding it. I'm drawing at a relatively fast pace. I aim to create lines with varying thickness to add a sense of depth and dimension to the rocks. Feel free to adjust your speed accordingly. If you wanna practice more on drawing rocks, I have a more detailed tutorial available. I will put the link on the top right corner. The rock arrangement here is quite simple, with one rock placed next to another. Make sure they have different sizes to avoid a repetitive look. Remember, your lines don't need to be flawless. Allow your lines to flow naturally. If you find drawing these rocks challenging, don't worry, I'm not confident with them either. Quick sketches like these are meant to be done whenever you have some spare time. The goal is to practice rather than aiming for perfection. So enjoy the process and see how your muscle memory will guide you. You can draw as many plants as you like. I have done tutorials on plants before, so if you would like some inspiration, feel free to check my other tutorials. I decided to not outline the shrub behind the rock. Keep it less detailed will enhance the depth of the drawing. Moving on to the pond, I will draw a few water lily leaves. The leaves I have drawn might not look very lively. I'm confident that you can do a better job than me. Now it's time to add some color. The coloring process is incredibly simple. We won't be focusing on intricate shading. Instead, we will give each object a touch of color to bring the whole drawing together. For the body of the waterfall, you will only need one blue color. Take a light blue color and fill in the waterfall. Start from the top and draw towards the bottom, lifting your marker at the end. Remember to leave some white space as part of the color. Use the corner of the gel tip to create a few lines and add a little splash effect around. For now, I will leave the entire water splash white. Use horizontal strokes to color the surface of the water. Once again, I prefer leaving some white space. Feel free to use any colors you like for the rocks. During the first layer of coloring, apply less pressure and focus on layering more ink on the lower right side of each rock. However, we don't need to add equal details to every single rock. Use any green colors you like for the plants. Always use light colors first. To draw the grass in the foreground, use diagonal strokes and make sure that your brush strokes direction is consistent. Next, we are going to use some mid-tone colors to add some shading to this drawing. Just a little bit of shading on the right side of some rocks. Use a darker blue to add some layers to the water. Draw some snake-like lines to mimic the water wave. Add a little bit darker colors around the splash. This can help enhance the contrast between the white splash and the body of the water. Even though the water lily's leaves are very small, I want to make sure they have light to dark values. Small details like these will add depth to our drawing. The drawing right now doesn't look very grounded because of the lack of darker colors. Here we can use a pen to add more line work on the water. I'm drawing more lines around the bottom of the rocks to represent its reflection. Then, using a thicker pen or the fine tip of the marker, I'm adding shadows to make the rock appear more grounded. I used the pink color for the shops on the right of the waterfall. It looked good. However, I made a mistake by adding some random details with a pen, and I didn't like how it turned out. To correct the mistake I made, I tried using white paint, but it made it worse. In the meantime, let's add some highlights. Since there is a lot of white space in the drawing, I won't add too many highlights to compete. After staring at my mistake for a few minutes, I decided to draw some plants with darker green to make these mistakes less noticeable. I think it works pretty well. And remember, the mistakes and imperfections make our drawing more unique. Let's draw a butterfly here and add a bit more shading to a few major rocks. Congratulations, we have successfully drawn a beautiful waterfall. If you try this drawing, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and liked the experience of drawing directly with a pen. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I will see you in the next video.